Y'all can see I'm still kind of under the weather. This is SEL0320 representing JVS back here again for another anime review. The amazing show Sword Art Online Season 2 or Sword Art Online 2. The two episodes I'm going to be reviewing next are going to be episode 11, which is The Meaning of Strength, and then episode 12, which is The Bullet of a Phantom, which is I think actually the full title for the new first season of the second series. But either way, these two episodes are really interesting because I mean there wasn't a lot as far as action that went on, especially in episode 11. I think episode 12 was when it really started to kick off, because episode 11 mostly was all them being in the cave and progressing through dialogue. And a lot of times with anime, especially with Dragon Ball Z, a lot of us really didn't like the filler episodes where it was just like, man, come on, get us to the action, you know, that's what we were waiting for. But one thing I love about the show is that the dialogue and the pacing and the realization of these characters and the depth behind these characters are so pivotal that it's okay to have filler episodes such as this. It makes the show mean something more than just being an action thriller or any other kind of thing. Even though this is technically a mainstream anime that everybody loves and likes, the story and the characters, they are real, you know, regardless if they last for a season or a series or whatever, they are real legitimate characters and you fall in love with them. In this episode, towards the beginning of it, I liked it because basically kind of Kirito was he was being questioned by Sinon because they were having like a really good bonding moment. Sinon kind of asked him, she's like, how do you get over everything that you've done, you know, everything that you've witnessed, people that you killed? And he basically kind of came to the revelation for her and for himself that he never did. It's like basically that he shouldn't forget it, essentially, that because it makes him strive to be better. It makes him strive towards redemption, to do more, to be able to help his fellow man. And I even go back to like the first season when we first meet Kirito. Like, he was kind of a real selfish kind of kid. He just, you know, he was fearful. He wanted to beat the game and survive. But along the way, he lost a lot of different people, you know, and it made him become like the hero of redemption that we know of him to be, you know. Not just this strong character that people that don't know the series, they're like, man, this dude just OP, you know. But it was more to his character than that, you know. That's what I think makes him one of my favorite characters personally. But one thing about it is that Death Gun is in the desert, and so they're in the desert too, but they basically are kind of like sitting ducks. They're like waiting for somebody to like throw a grenade in there, and it's just really good dialogue between both him and Sinon. I mean, I think that Kirito and her, they both came to the realization of who and what Death Gun is trying to do. He basically found out that, okay, the reason why that he's able to kill in this world and that world because there's two different people, but the possibility is there might be more, because he went out to kind of scope, figure out if anybody else out there. He couldn't find a character. It was supposed to be exactly, he got a count of 29, but it was 30 total in the map. He couldn't find that one, and it's really interesting to me that still wasn't readdressed even in the 12th episode. Nor I've already seen this series, but that never gets really readdressed within this part of the series. But one thing I didn't like was the fact that they had like a lot of fan service in this. Like they had like close-ups on Sinon's butt for no good reason, like 3 times. I was like, it was one time when kind of Kirito looked and was like, okay, he's attracted to this girl that's on his lap. I can understand that. But then it was like they would focus in, and they've done that a lot since the first episode. And I'm like, dude, you're ruining something that's awesome. I know you have to reach different demographics of people, but like, come on, bro. At any rate, they found she gets the understanding that the red players, they're not just, you know, sick, they're cowardly, because she's like, we've gone off and, you know, poked out of different people to try to take them out, but these people are there just, they need to be stopped, you know, essentially. But one thing that did happen though is that when he came to the realization that there are 2 different people, there's one person that has a syringe literally at somebody. He found he had to tell her, he was like, look, you need to calm down, because what I'm going to tell you is going to disturb you. But basically, that they were targeting you, they weren't targeting me. And so that means that somebody is in your house right now. This is such a scary scenario, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's one thing I think about, like, Japanese animation, or even just foreign films in general, like, they go there, you know? And think about somebody that's in the game completely helpless, somebody's sitting there waiting for them to die in the game so they can get, like, basically syringed to have a heart attack. And what's so bad is that she starts having a panic attack. Like she's like feels helpless, you know. But Kirito is such a good person. He knows how to help her, quiet her, and comforts her. But I really feel like they're catching feelings, you know. And that's always happens. Like he did that with his sister. He's doing that with Sinon. But then it's like some kind of way he's still just, you know, married to just Asuna, you know. And one thing I'll say about Asuna in this episode, she's a straight up G. Like she found the guy that basically put Kirito in this episode, and they all were like ragging at him, like, look, why'd you put my brother in this situation? Why'd you do this? And he kind of broke it down for him. There's certain bylaws that he can't do. Not just that, there are certain things he can't go over, but you find out that he was part of a special task force that oversees the whole reestablishment of the people coming in and out of the whole SAO situation. And he's trying to seek, in my opinion, he's trying to seek redemption for himself. But the one thing that I think his sister was like our brother's gonna survive. My brother's gonna survive. He's gonna do what he has to do. He's probably protecting somebody right now. I thought it was funny that she caught that. But basically, Asuna was like, look, you better do this, that, and other. And I was just like, yo, Asuna, she's a G. Like, she straight up is freaking awesome. And she basically told him, like, you better tell me where his body is right now as well, because I'm going to see my husband, essentially. There's nothing you can do to stop it. So that's where it goes full force. She's going to go to the hospital to meet him. And then at the same time this is happening, Kirito basically is letting her know that he's going to be the decoy. And like basically the camera kind of spikes up randomly and it's looking at them kind of sitting in their lap, you know. And Sinon's like, what's the problem? Like, is there somebody out there that's kind of watching you? He's like, aren't you worried that somebody gonna think you're a lesbian because like I look like a girl? You know, it's just funny banter. I thought that was really good comic relief. That's why I don't have a problem with filler. I still give this episode 9 out of 10. I don't give it a full 10 out of 10 because nothing really happened. It's kind of like a rewatch of some of the conversation they just had, you know. But I feel like they're breaking borders. They're becoming like a real team, you know. And so that episode, I give it, like I said, a 9 out of 10. But 12th episode, which is The Bullet of the Phantom, that was really good episode because like the angle with the missing character, it gets readdressed. But it's funny to me how Death Gun is not just these two people. He basically said that there's 10 active people that are still alive from Laughing Coffin that could come back in any other game at any point, any time. And that kind of shows like the vulnerable side of Kirito. He just really doesn't know, you know. But one thing I liked is that basically Sinon was kind of addressing a person by the name of Yamaka. What was it? Yamakaza, I think his name. That he's one of the better players in the game. He's still alive. And they were like, well, honestly, like, Death Gun is not going to be at his house too. So we can use him to our advantage, you know. And I thought that was really funny because like I was like looking at some of the flashbacks of him kind of moving around. Like, man, this dude's fast, you know. But they basically kind of go and show about and like, good luck, partner. Like, I know you got my back. And Kirito really trusts her. Like, there's one point where Kirito's kind of sitting in the desert just listening, and he can tell and sense where the other guy Yamakaza is kind of closing in on him. He's like, I know this Snow's got my back. I know she's got my back. And then he's kind of sitting there thinking and searching, where is Death Gun? And what's so crazy to me is that he realized like the reason why he can sense him so well is because in SAO he realized he could sense the darkness on him and like the evil and the malice in his heart. And as soon as he realizes that, that's when the shot goes off, which I knew. I was like, even though she can get in position and stuff like that, like this is gonna go wrong some kind of way. And sure enough, Death Gun basically fired a shot at Kirito. Like, it literally grazed and broke his hair off. And then he kept on shooting at him. And so Kirito, being Kirito, charges at him while the dude is continuously sniping at him. And then Sinon finally sees the guy. He's watching and spectating as he kind of sits in the dark. She just instantly, by instinct, shoots him. He's down. And then she's looking at Kirito. She's trying to find like a vantage point of finding where Death Gun is shooting at. By the time she sees him, like, Kirito's kind of dodging all these different things. And as soon as she points her line at him, at his head, like, Death Gun looks right at her, and they collide. I was like, this is freaking awesome merger of 2D animation and CG. Like, this is the perfect kind of balance. Because a lot of times the action sequences, they'll go heavy on the CG, and then they'll go right back to regular 2D. This is the perfect merger. And I hope more animes are more like this, because Like, to see those two bullets cross, and to see the interaction of the freaking scope on her gun just go and shatter, but then his gun shattered in two. I was like, this is freaking awesome. And then Kirito and Death Gun, they finally go head to head, and Kirito realizes that not only does he have a blade that was like hidden, you know, but he is really almost faster than Kirito. And for Kirito to be able to block bullets in and of itself, that's crazy. But for them, for Death Gun to be quicker than that, that's crazy, because he just literally stuck it in his chest. And they kind of have this back and forth kind of communicational line. And Death Gun basically tells him, he's like, yeah, I've been waiting for you, you know, like, you remember the conversation we had where, like, someday I'm gonna kill you properly, you know, and like Kirito basically acknowledged I remember all this kind of stuff. But one thing that was crazy is that when Asuna was at the hospital with the nurse, like, the nurse was like, this is in German, sterben in and of itself means to die. And that brought dread to her thought, because she looked at even his weapon. It's like, that weapon is basically is a created skill that Death Gun had created. And he basically kind of reveals towards the end that he made it out of armor plating out of a freaking ship. And so basically one thing that kind of messes Kirito up, and I think is going to play on to the next episode, is that even though he realizes who Death Gun is, what he represents, where he came from, Death Gun basically says that, yes, fine, but you're never going to guess who I am, because when I tried to tell you my name, you didn't acknowledge me. And you basically said to me, there's no point in remembering your name because I'm never going to see you again. And he's like, that's the reason why I represent the fear of you, because you don't know who I am. No matter, even if you do take me out, you won't know how to trace back to know where I am, because you don't have my name. And I was like, that's serious. And so then that's when, you know, Kirito's just getting slashed out, and that's how the episode ends. Really good episode. Give it a 9.5 out of 10. Like I said, I really like both of these episodes. Can't wait for the next episode. And like I said, I'm doing pretty bad right now. Feel pretty bad. Keep me lifted up in your prayers. Hopefully you enjoyed this review that I did for episode, oh gosh, excuse me, episode 11 and 12 for Sword Art Online 2. If you have any comments or your thoughts about this series, leave it in the comment section below. Leave a like if you actually enjoyed this review. Hopefully I'll be back for another one if I can knuckle it out. Yeah, have a good one. JVS, we out.